Hello, Hoopheads. Welcome back to another episode of The Uninsured Ankles. Joining me today is Haley Everett and Jordan Stratton. Good evening, gentlemen. How you doing?
Good. It's been a minute.
It
It's
has.
it's summertime. Lots of moving pieces in the NBA and in real life. So
Yeah.
good to be back.
Yeah.
Yep, good to be back. The heat is really heating down here in Georgia. It's been a warm 94 today. Uh,
Ugh.
I
yeah,
don't know about
100.
you, Haley, but the humidity here is like 99% all the time, if not higher,
Yeah,
which doesn't give a lot of room for higher, but
you,
higher.
you're not sure what sweat is and what the atmosphere is. You're just like, it's just wet
It's
outside.
just moist soup.
Yeah.
And every day is raining like thunderstorms, and so it just keeps getting more and more saturated everywhere you are. Well, I don't think anybody here wants to hear us talk about the weather. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the summer league. What do you guys got? Any hot takes from things you're seeing and hearing?
I think we were all right about Hanson Yang or Yang Hansen, or Handsome and Young, as
Mm,
his leading
amen.
paraphernalia says. But dude looks like the real deal. I think that some of the narratives being kicked around are like, how did this guy not go higher in the lottery? Why wasn't he top 10? Just little things like that. But he looks like the real deal. Looks a lot better on defense than I think people anticipated. And just is he's a very large human being, and generally like large human beings, if they know the right position to be in, can be formidable rim protectors. And he's seemed to be able to do that so far. We know summer league isn't necessarily the greatest of competition, but it's not nothing. It's a good litmus test, and he looked like the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take the big old grain of salt for summer league stuff, and sometimes things are not what they appear, whether better or worse. But I think if you see somebody doing well, you can usually hope that they're at least. I mean, it's better than them not doing well, right? So,
Yeah.
Mm.
it's one of those things that I think Josh and I specifically talked a lot about the Jokic mold actually panning out so far. I'm curious how he does against even better athletes, even better teams, even better sets, teams that are a little more cohesive. But it's good to see.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think my main concern with him is just how much it seems like if he's going to be kind of that Joker mold, is he going to have the ball in his hands enough to really be able to affect the game as much as you would want someone with that skill set to? Not sure that's going to be the case at least year one, but then again, it also took Joker a few seasons to really come into his own. So hopefully he pans out. I don't think there's going to be a whole. We've talked about the depth of the NBA now. It's going to be hard for any of the rookies to make a super meaningful impact like right out of the gate, except for like some of your super high level lottery players. Of those guys, I was particularly impressed with Edgecombe, and I think we we anticipated that, but the eye test, he looked the best out of the rookies in summer league to me at least. Um, just his game was fluid. He played with the same intensity that he did in college in summer league against better competition. So I'm really, I think his game is going to translate really well. I was kind of a doubter for some of the this college season at how well he would translate over, but he's looked fearless. His play style seemed to translate well. So he was a highlight for me for sure.
Yeah, I think both of these guys, Yang and Edgecombe, are been playing well. I'm kind of curious where they land in the hierarchy because it's not like they're falling on teams that have like this open roster spot, like
Hmm.
freeway to playing time. I mean, Portland has Donovan Clingan from last year they drafted, and I think among other centers they already have, and
Yeah,
for Yang. And then obviously there's a nice young backcourt with Maxi and uh,
McCain.
McCain. Thank you. So there's not like this freeway of space. And I'm curious how they both translate that to playing time this year.
Yeah, VJ's definitely, I mean, for the number three pick, you don't expect to be drafted that high and go into a situation where you might be third on the depth chart in your position, which is um, kind of the situation he's walking into because they've re-signed Quentin Grimes, or they've signed him to a qualifying offer at least, or extended a qualifying offer. But all that to say, yeah, I was impressed with VJ too. He's also, as far as like NBA ready, like looking, he's one of the handful of guys who has the game that looked the part and who physically, I think, will be able to stand up to uh, the NBA like strength and quickness that speed and strength that the difference between the college and NBA is pretty significant. But yeah, VJ looked good. But yeah, tough situations to be in for both of them and not necessarily clear playing times or like what their opportunities are going to look like.
Another guy that doesn't have clear playing time that I was excited to see in summer league was Reed Shepard. I don't know if you guys caught
Hmm.
anything of that. I've been a big Reed Shepard fan coming out since he's coming out of college, and I know he had some injury issues. Now he's buried on a Rockets depth chart that's miles long, and apparently the organization has some faith in him. But what did you guys think of him? I have some mixed feelings about it. But do you have any feelings about Reed Shepard in summer league?
Well, I know he didn't end up playing a ton. I know he played some for the first handful of games. It looked I was impressed. It looked like he had a good handle on the game, and it looks like the some of the moves that the Rockets made, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, seem to have cleared up a little bit of that depth chart space to give him a backup role in their guard rotation. So I'm hopeful that we could see him be like a Peyton Pritchard-esque type of guy this year. And he's small like Peyton is, but he's a little bit stockier, a little bit taller, probably a little bit less of a defensive liability. You know, Pritchard is quick, but he's small. And Reed's got a little bit more meat on his bones to potentially stand up against some tough switches and tough matchups.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what type of opportunities come with the clearing of some guards in that guard room. Well, I'm not sure if you call Dylan Brooks a guard anymore, but it does seem like there's some space for him to get, 20 plus minutes a game consistently this year. And like you said, there's been a lot of buzz around the league that uh, the organization's really behind him. And yeah, he's an exciting player. Like he's got all the shots in his bag, which I think they need shooting. Like they're not like bereft of shooting by any means, but they need more shooters and people to hit tough shots. And he's one of the handful of guys who's going to be able to do that. Obviously, they have one of the best in the world, but you need complementary pieces to supplement that scoring. So
I
Yeah, and
really go ahead.
I think moving Cam Whitmore is really the thing that opened up space for him because they still have good defenders on that roster, and I know that was at least at this point the main thing that Cam was providing to that team was a defensive presence. We've talked about it before that I think he's got a lot of potential to be a big offensive threat, and maybe he is able to find that role outside of Houston. But Cam Whitmore is not a catch and shoot spot up 3 point guy. Um, and Reed has the ability to be that space the floor guy who also has a deep enough bag to contribute in other ways as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the thing that I saw in the summer league, I saw a lot of what you guys are saying, but I'm also seeing he's not doing it as efficiently as I want him to. Like I was expecting
Mm.
better shooting percentages. I feel like he was hunting his shot a lot, which is good, but if you're not efficient in summer league, it's only going to get worse probably in the NBA. And we've talked about he's kind of a slight guy. I mean, he's bigger than Peyton Pritchard, but Pritchard is like he's a dog. He's also like, more of a facilitator than Reed. And if your Reed's out there to be efficient and to get shots up and make buckets, like you need to do it efficiently because you're not a big guy and you don't get to move other people around very well. So I'd like to see him clean that up a bit. And I'm curious how that if he was just kind of anxious and moving to move. But yeah, that was a little bit of a red flag to me, and we'll see how that plays out in an NBA season.
Yeah. On the Hawks front, Kobe Buffkin similarly had a pretty inefficient, yes, we love him, Michigan guy. Uh, he had a similarly inefficient summer league, but I mean on significant volume. But one of the things that I found some, I guess,
Some solace.
some solace in is hearing people talk about, you're not necessarily looking for, did they score X amount or did they do it efficiently, but more so was the process correct?
Right.
Um, not to, at this point for second, third year guys, their skill is well assessed. Like there's enough of a rapport with your team where they know what you're good at relative to your teammates. And this is more, are you playing the system that we want you to play? Are we're going to stick you in some situations where you need to be the primary ball handler, primary facilitator, primary scorer, etc. In a summer league setting, can you do that? And then can we translate that into the big league, so to speak. But yeah, to your point, like translating that to Kobe, like Kobe Buffkin did some things at the end of games that was really impressive to me. It showed some leadership, some grit. Like made some extremely big shots, went on some single-handed runs in tight games. And again, I know context is summer league, but it's always impressive when you see guys like put a team on their back. And as far as Hawks fans go, like I'm pretty excited to see what Kobe can bring to the table. But an inefficient summer league didn't necessarily concern me as much, and doesn't for Reed either. Like I think we know the skill set that he brings, and the skill set, at least I feel confident about the skill set Kobe brings. Um, and just excited what the new opportunities that they'll get in this upcoming season.
Yeah, and to kind of touch on like you said, they're not looking for who's gonna drop 35 for our team because they kind of know what they're working with their teams at this point, especially the guys that are back for like their second summer league. And in that group, I was thinking about Nikola Topic and Tyler Kolek as well.
Hmm.
Were two guys that I thought that I enjoyed watching during the summer league and did a really good job of playing within themselves and doing the things that their teams needed. There was one game for Kolek where he scored like 23, 24 points in the first half on, 6 3-pointers or something like that. And then there was another game where he had high, I think, double-digit assists. And then the same thing with Topic. He had an 18-point, 7 board, 6 assist game, and he also had like a 10-point, 11 assist game. So just figuring out how to play within the system, and especially on a team like the Thunder, who already have the clear stars, being able to fill in the rest of the gaps is going to be really important. And for the longevity of a team like the Thunder, where obviously they signed a bunch of contracts this last year, having someone that can come in and fill a hole as inevitably some of their role players have to move out, and to provide some potential trade value down the road, like Josh Giddey did, because it seems like their play styles are pretty similar. Be able to provide some of that trade value or plug and play value down the road for them is going to be big. And then for Tyler, I think Mike Brown is going to really enjoy playing with him, because Brown likes to play a more like high tempo, fast paced offense, and that's how Kolek played all of college, and didn't really get a chance to showcase any of that last season. partially because Tibbs keeps his rotation just super tight. But the pieces that we got to see of him last year were all positive, and I was pretty high on him coming out of the draft last year. So I'm curious to see how Brown uses him this coming season and what an expanded role for him might look like.
For sure. Yeah, can
Yeah.
I just vent for a second about Topich? Like, and this isn't about him. I actually really like him. It's more about the Thunder. Like in this day, like I feel like right now it's really hard to have a dynasty with the amount of talent that's across the league and the amount of injuries that play a role in, the playoffs and all that. But when you look at the Thunder right now, the way they're constructed, they just locked up their top three guys. They're all really young. And now they've got a dearth of draft picks and they've got a dearth of other young guys who you can see a ton of talent and ability for. And so guys like Topich, like they're gonna elevate, they're going to bring they're going to like elevate the team, bring them forward, continue moving through the playoffs, and support their main three. And then guess what? They're gonna be too expensive to keep, ship them off, and then you just replace them with another. You can just see them doing this for like a decade. And like it's not sustainable now with like the apron rules and all this other stuff to continue, keeping your guys together, your team intact, because you end up having to pay somebody. But in this case, you kind of just replace the background pieces as long as you continue to elevate them. It's a scary sight, I think. I think the Thunder are going to be pretty well equipped for moving forward because of things like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the one factor that's helped them out a lot and makes it scary on paper, but maybe a little less scary down the road is they've just hit on like their last six draft picks or something like that. They've like all panned out, which never happens. Now, some of that you got to tip your cap to the front office for their scouting team and finding these diamonds in the rough, but also eventually they'll brick on somebody because like yeah if they're able to if Topic does really well and is able to elevate his value, they'll probably flip him for picks in order to just keep the cycle flowing. They've got their core guys and they'll keep filling in cheap pieces around them. I think that's the right move as well, but eventually they're going to swing and they're going to miss on somebody.
hmm
So I think that's what you kind of got to hope for in order to get away from how good their top five or six guys are going to be for the next few years. But yeah, it's pretty scary.
I think they've got a little bit of wiggle room to miss on some guys. I know they've had a really good hit rate, but even missing one or two here or there isn't going to be that big of a deal. And you're also
Yeah.
not swinging for the fences. You're looking for specific skill sets and known deficiencies because they're going to largely be picking in the back end. Like I said, I don't know where all their picks are, but there's going to be like their own are going to be at the back end of first because they're going to have
Right.
a good record every year. So they can go for the 3 and D, like very specific guys or very specific skill sets that they need to complement their existing core.
Yeah. And just to be fair, when you get that many shots at picks, like you're just gonna have a higher probability to hit some of them. And they have some guys who I wouldn't say are like complete misses, but like Hamidou Diallo and um Usman Dieng, like
Yeah.
not not like total non-NBA players, but um into bench guys and not necessarily that I wouldn't say that they panned out. But not nothing either. So yeah, but still like when you have as many bites at the apple as they do, they're gonna get something,
Yeah.
some quality players. So one other summer league thought was Common Malawach. I know that he's Josh's guy, I would say, not necessarily exclusively to Josh, but I know Josh probably the highest on him, and even though we were all high on him. But his 3 point uh volume in summer league is what impressed me. Just the shot looks clean, and he's taking enough of them to where if he hits at a 30-ish% rate, like that's going to be a swing skill for him that really takes his game to another level. And and I think we had kicked around that idea. Like we saw him shoot a couple in the uh
The
late
combine.
stages of the yeah, and in the late stages of the season, we're like, his jumper like actually looks smooth.
The
And
mechanics are there for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And now the volume's there, and it's like, all right, here we go. We're
Good.
on this ride. But yeah, excited to see what comes of that. Um, that 3-point volume for him.
I mean,
Before
yeah, he's going to have to develop the skill in order to be it's just you just got to have it now. Like the you can see how guys like Gobert just get left alone on the offensive side of the floor, and there just isn't room for a non-skill offensive player really anymore. So glad to see that he has the willingness to shoot it, because at the end of the day, that's all they really need is the willingness to shoot it, and it's got to be good enough that they just have to respect it a little bit, just a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. So
Yep.
I think we can't walk away from summer league without talking about Johnny Furphy and the dunk. I know we mentioned it, collectively together before, but it was a thing of beauty. I think, I don't know what he does in the league this year. I don't know what his translation is. I've been high on him since Kansas, but it's he's got the skill set. I think he can translate it. But that dunk, oh, that
Yes.
dunk.
Oh my gosh. That dunk was crazy. I feel
and
bad for Noah. We briefly talked about it. Dude has a good summer league, but he will only be known for that until
that
he
facial expression, bro,
yeah,
that's so
just
rough.
brutal. Uh yeah,
Yeah.
if Murphy's gonna get a chance, this is the year with Indiana like on a clear down year,
Yeah.
without Hallie. So we'll see.
Well, we've hit a lot of the summer league, which is fun, but it's always kind of a toss in the bag of what we're actually going to get out of those guys because they're young, they're new, they're playing against each other. It's only a couple games, a lot of first season jitters, all that good stuff. Let's talk about the moves that we know are going to make some impacts. There's been a lot of good moves so far this summer, and some big ones. I think some ones that have a lot of name and clout to them that aren't going to be so much, and I got some that have not so much name and clout that are going to mean quite a bit more. So what do you guys think? What are some of your bigger hits so far this off season?
Well, I would be remiss to not talk about the Clippers, because if we look at their roster on paper, and this is a classic, just it's always the on paper with the Clippers. They always have a good team, but they seem to have gotten even better this year. So they did lose Norman Powell, but they pick up Collins to essentially fill that gap, and then they signed Bradley Beal for nothing, and all of a sudden you've got a starting five plus. But I would personally bring Beal off my bench if I was running that team. So you've got James Harden, you got Bogey as your shooting guard, you got Kawhi Leonard, you got Collins, and you got Zoo with Bradley Beal and Batum's still on that roster, right? He didn't leave yet. Derek Jones Jr. I don't give a hoot about the Brook Lopez signing. Let's keep it a stack. Uh, Dunn, I was high on for a long time, but with the dearth of talent they have on that team, probably doesn't get a ton of rotation. I'm a big Derek Jones Jr. guy though, so that core seven guys is pretty disgusting. Probably, I think it rivals any starting five in the league. Now, what I don't want to have happen is I've put on my like, what was it, the 2011 or 2012 Brooklyn Nets, right after they made the trade to
Oh
bring
yeah.
over Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and they had Brook Lopez, they had Darren Williams, they had this roster of names, and they were all like 35 years old plus, and it showed when they were putting out the product on the court. The Clippers surprised me this last year with their production, but also we started to see traces of their age coming into play. And they being Kawhi has just never showed that they can stay healthy for a full year. So they'll find a way to mess it up for sure, but it is a scary team.
Yeah.
It's like one of those teams that you're gonna have a first round upset or something. They're gonna take down like OKC in the first round or the second round or something, and then they're gonna get smoked in the Western Conference Finals or something along those lines. Like they're gonna do some damage, but they're not gonna be contending type thing.
I mean, we all know that James Harden cannot make an NBA Finals unless he's on a roster with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant in their prime. So
I do. I'm with you on all fronts. I'm most particularly excited about John Collins being on a real basketball team again. We've been screaming since he got on the Jazz to get him off the Jazz. Um, so I'm just glad he's in a winning situation. But they built a like complementary team for the most part. But yeah, their age and their just general lack of um, consistency with health is a huge concern. But they've got pieces that where they can kind of play any style you want. They can play small, they can play big, and they can play. I mean, they can't really play fast, an up tempo style of game, but they can play high volume 3-pointer. They can play inside out. They can, they've got some optionality, if you will. But yeah, the age is concerning. The age and injuries.
And some of the defense too. Obviously, Derek Jones Jr. helps out a decent amount on that front. Kawhi, when healthy, is a great defender. Zoo is a solid rim protector, but
Hmm.
as far as like perimeter stoppers are concerned, it seems like they probably have to play Dunn to counter some of the issues that you have with Harden, Beal not being a great lockdown defender, and then Bogey also not a particularly strong defender. So you're forced to play some of your other guys that aren't as well-rounded offensively, um, just because your stars are not the greatest defenders, with the exception of Kawhi.
What about you, Haley? What kind of moves are looking good to you so far this year, or not good?
Um, I kind of like what the Wizards and the Trailblazers are doing. Not necessarily for big season wins, but I appreciate that they're acting like real professional organizations. Uh,
Such
for
a break from the norm,
I know, gosh,
at least at least for the Wizards. Golly,
it's yeah. I mean, the Wizards were like just consistently the doldrums, and also the Hornets really fall into this. Also, they've just made smart moves. They've signed good veterans or retained good veterans, and they've brought in like some serious young talent.
Their
For
drafting both teams was great.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So I'm excited to see, I think more than anything, the growth in the younger players that both of those teams have. Well, and the Hornets also. I'm not really sure what their outcomes are going to be. I'm not one to trust any LaMelo led team, but who knows? If he stays healthy, they could actually be more troublesome than people imagine. But as far as Trailblazers and Wizards go, excited to see what Scoot can do with guys around him like Drew, and I know Dame's going to be rehabbing, but I would almost guarantee he will be around the team. And
For sure.
yeah, and then they've cleared the way for Denny Avdia to like really be the man there, and then they've got just like incredibly exciting young wings with Shaden Sharp and Tumani Kamara, and um, yeah, we've already talked about their bigs. Like I know I think Nick and I are pretty high on clean on. Um,
Again.
Thank you. Sorry. And Yang, of course. And then and then with the Wizards, Jordan mentioned Cam Whitmore earlier, but excited to see him get an opportunity. I know there's been a lot of frustrations with kind of he wanted to be the star. He didn't get like a high number of minutes to really like quote unquote prove himself, but we also know Ime's like that type of coach to not play young dudes really. And if you're not going to play his style of basketball, you're not going to play. Um, but excited to see what he can do. He's going to be around guys like Chris Middleton. They've got some other good vets that are in their locker room. So yeah, just kind of excited to see them acting like professional organizations and see what their young guys can kind of grow into over the next year.
Yeah, I know I kind of alluded to my enjoyment of Cam Whitmore. I would say I'm gonna have him as a sleeper pick to be a 20 plus point per game scorer this coming season. Um, I think he can do it, and I think he's gonna kind of he seems like the type of player that will play with a chip on his shoulder because he didn't get the opportunity before. He's going to be like, all right, you guys didn't want to give me the opportunity. Watch this.
Yeah.
I think we could see it. He's my way too early pick for most improved player. So,
This has got to be an inflection point in his career, right? He's got the
well, it
opportunity
has to be.
now. Yeah. That he's either gonna hit or he's gonna fizzle away or be what be end of the bench kind of guy. Like he's got the opportunity, he's got the talent. Now's the time.
Realistically, one of the things that I think we all love about him is like he's just a ridiculous slasher. Like he can just
Mhm.
get into the lane and like do things that a lot of guys can't. But he's going to be surrounded by players who should, for the most part, complement that. Got CJ McCollum, Corey Kispert, Trey Johnson, um, Chris Middleton. Like you've got guys who can move the ball quickly, make smart reads, and can also shoot the ball. And
Alex
then,
Sarr.
well, who's definitely not going to be inside the paint. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I think there's a real path for him to, like Jordan said, to get to 20 points a game if they give him the opportunity. And it seems like that's the direction Washington's going. It's not going to be, hey, let's stretch Chris and CJ to 30 minutes a game. It's going to be, let's run them 25, we'll start them, and they'll probably end most games, but well, when they're healthy. But other than that, it's going to be how much can we grow these young pieces could complement each other in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys that could be borderline all-stars as they move to a new team, who's ready for the second coming of Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart on the LA Lakers? It's the best signing of the summer. We're winning it all now.
Go do it. Go do it. I believe you,
Hey,
Jordan.
you know what? At least they brought in one LeBron and Luca stopper, so it's more of like a preventative measure.
Preventative tactic.
Yeah.
Just stockpile and throw them in the G League. They can't hurt you there.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that this was the greatest summer for LA basketball of all time, specifically LA Laker basketball. But that being said, I'm very content with all the signings and moves that were made. Sad that we lost DFS, but I think probably given some of the potential salary constrictions that signing him and bringing him back would have had, it might be for the best. Because what was his contract that he signed with Houston? I think he's over 10 mil a year.
Yes, for sure.
It was
For
like
sure.
17 mil or something like that, which isn't huge, but it's not chum change, and chum change is pretty much what we signed all of the guys that we added this offseason for. I think Smart was 2 years, 11 million, I think. And then Aiton, 2 years, 16 million, which, like, say what you will about Aiton, that's just a steal. He's a 14 and 10 guy that we're going to pay $8 million a year in the current CBA. That's nuts. I'll take it. And then don't sleep on Laravia. He's a hooper. He's just a hooper.
Yes.
He's gonna fill gaps well. I think we've filled some of the needs on our roster. We added in the extra big that we needed. That's huge. You got another vet coming in Smart, who has far more of like the grittiness and dogginess that honestly Braun does not bring that anymore. Um, Braun brought that in stretches during his career, but he's just past that point now. He's been in the league long enough, especially for the regular season. He's just not bringing that kind of energy anymore.
Can I
Yeah.
And
just say I'm sad that they did not move Braun? Like I
uh,
wanted him. I wanted him
me
gone.
me too.
I mean, greatest of all time. But like it was time to move on from him. They've got Luka now. They're their center piece.
Yeah.
Like Move on. Get young. Move on.
Well,
That
and that's one reason why I'm happy that Braun opted into his contract is it means he's gone sooner. That smells to me like he's not going to sign an extension. He's going to be done after this year, basically. Um, the which just opens up all the cap space, which is why I'm very glad that the signings we made like 3 signings, and the grand total per year of those signings is like $14 million, which I'm very here for because they're all rotational guys too. It's not like we signed 3 guys for $14 million total and they're just going to sit on the bench all year. They're all guys that'll scratch the rotation. So get some good value out of those players now. See if we can have some player development. See if we can make a poke at a run in the playoffs, because I mean, the starting 5 is still pretty ridiculous when you've got LeBron, Luka, Reeves, Rui, and Ayton as your starting 5. That's no slouch of a roster. So excited for the year, not actually anticipating a championship, but very happy about the flexibility that it gives us in the next couple years.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell that the Lakers like we're prioritizing that. They are
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing flexibility over the next few years. But I mean, I know LeBron's not necessarily happy about it, but they're doing enough now to
Too damn
still
bad.
win now.
Yeah,
Like don't Jake LaRavia is a baller,
he's a hooper.
there's a very good chance he's better than DFS this year. Like
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to like be a hype man or anything, but Jake LaRavia has more skills than DFS, and if he grows into them and into the role that he's probably going to have, then he's going to look like a monster signing. And the Lakers were the 3 seed last year, the 3 seed, and like they didn't necessarily get worse
I
in
think
the
I think they
offseason.
got better. I,
Yeah,
I'm I'm
like you
I'm
have
pretty
a
sure.
center, you have a center now.
That
What?
was the biggest hole. The biggest issue was a center. And not only do we put Aiton as a solid starting center, Jackson Hayes is not a bad player. He's just not a 35-minute per game guy. He
No,
is a perfect, like he's like rookie Derek Lively. You plug him in for 10 minutes, he catches 2 lobs and he gets a block and a rebound, and then you sit him back down. And it's
you know,
perfect.
I don't know about Derek Lively, but I'll stand
I said
for.
rookie Derek Lively. Rookie Derek Lively.
Oof, I don't know about all that, but still, yes, I agree with you to the extent that he's like you give him 10 minutes and he can be a high energy center, rim
Yep.
runner. Like that's his
He'll
role.
he'll do one dumb play. He okay, how about JaVale McGee? How
I'll
about
t
yeah.
I'll take young JaVale McGee. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I like what the Lakers did, and my I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but like Bronny looks like a real player.
He does.
Like
He's
looks
bodying up Cooper Flag, little small little body Cooper Flag, get pushed around by a 6'1" guy.
yeah. I mean, but seriously, like he looks like he can hang tough on the perimeter as far as the defender goes, and jumper looks cleaner and cleaner. It seems like every time he's on the floor, like he's doing the things to be a professional basketball player. Don't care who his dad is anymore. Like
Yep.
good for you, Bronny.
Okay.
Ducks and runs.
No, I think it's a valid take. I just don't like it. I'm not. It's fine. Let's pivot to another team that we're a high fandom of. I think the Hawks did a lot of stock raising this offseason as well.
Caw.
Like they didn't make any big splashy. I guess KP is a Porzingis is a little splashy, right? But other like that improves their team tremendously. And I think this is a team that continuity, if continuity holds, they get better. Like it's not like there's a bunch of pieces there. They have so many elite role players on that team that are young and just getting better that health and time together and just kind of gelling is going to make them all sorts of better. And Haley, you've convinced me that Trey can lead a team to a championship potentially. So, I'm all in on the Hawks this year. They're my secondary team and I like what they did.
Yeah, I know this is like my running shtick in our the difference between me in the group chat and me on the podcast is pretty dramatic because I'm like S tier trolling perpetually in the group chat and then I get on here with completely measured takes unless we're talking about the Magic or the Pacers. But otherwise we're like a fairly measured take Haley. But in the group chat, it's like, no, we were supposed to go to the finals in 2021, but the referee broke Trey Young's ankle, so we didn't make it. Thank you, Josh Tiven, I think. Sorry if it wasn't you, Josh, but nonetheless, uh, for some insight, that's what Nick's referring to. I basically claimed that we would have gone to the finals in 2021 had a referee not gotten under Trey Young's ankle, which I don't know, maybe. But yeah, obviously I'm very
Reverts
excited.
back into into his
Even
pod
deal.
take persona.
Yeah,
Well, who knows? Maybe.
trucks. I'm way too excited, and this is the type of for any Hawks fan, like longtime Hawks fan, you already know what's happening. This is like heartbreaker, thabocephalosha, legs get broken by the NYPD kind of hype. Like if we're having that level of an off season where we're like, yeah, we're one of the best teams built right now, and I'm terrified. Like something bad's gonna happen, and I just don't want to talk about it because we're doing smart things. Like while I was talking about the Trailblazers and the Wizards, like the Hawks look like the smartest organization out there, not named the Thunder and it's scary. We don't normally do this. I don't know what to do.
There's a
Well,
wide open East as well.
yeah,
I know.
that's the main thing for me is just with all the injuries going on out east. I mean, are the Celtics a top 12 team in the East this year without Tatum on their roster and without KP? And with it, Horford has Horford signed? I don't think he's signed
No,
yet.
no, he's probably not going. Well, the
I
word on the
assume
street is he's probably not going back to Boston if even if he is signing.
right. I would think he's probably going to retire. If I was someone who'd been around the league that long, I wouldn't want to try to start over in a new place at this point.
Yeah,
Um, so if I was him, I'd probably be retiring. But the moral of the story is the Hawks have it's just wide open for them to take advantage of. The Bucks are going to be terrible. The Celtics are not going to be what they were.
Pacers are no good.
The Pacers are going to be buns unless that some of their role players take major leaps or
Knicks are in turmoil.
yeah, Nick's got a little too much going on. I don't know.
Cleveland will still be good.
Cleveland will be good. I think the Knicks will be good. Orlando will be good. The Desmond Bain signing is solid for them. It fills a need. Long term, I don't think it's the play given how much draft stock they gave up to get him. But for this year, it's going to be a good move for them. But other than that, there's not can't forget my Pistons, but
Pew pew.
pew, pew, pew. But it's still far more open than the West is, and
Yeah,
and the Hawks have built out a roster to compete. My concern is does does Jalen Johnson come back fully healthy and play the same basketball that he was playing before the All-Star break last year? And how much of a needle move is KP? It I'm just at least concerned about KP given the last 3 months, including the playoffs of the NBA season.
yeah.
Obviously, he was dealing with something, but how much of that do we expect that to just be gone and he's back to his normal self? Or are we going to be seeing some lingering effects still?
Yeah. A lot of questions around Kristaps for sure. And then Jalen, the thing about because his issue was a rotator cuff. And the thing about rotator cuffs is you just lose like all your upper body strength because you just can't do anything upper body when you're operating on a repaired rotator cuff. And from what I've heard, takes like a full year to really get back to even being able to do some of the like strength training without just immense pain. I could be wrong. I've never torn my rotator cuff, but all that to say, yeah, those are real concerns that I'm also like questioning, but I think that we have enough pieces to kind of like buoy if those guys only play 25 to like around 30 minutes instead of like we were running Jalen like 33 to 37 minutes a game. And we don't
Well,
have to do that
more than
anymore.
that, when Trey was out for that stint at the beginning
Yeah,
of the year last year too, he was playing like 40 minutes and had the ball in his hands the entire time.
yeah. And
I
we don't have
think
to do that.
Porzingis is the cherry on top, right? Like he makes them
Yeah,
potentially great, but everything else still works without him. Like
yeah.
And, and if Porzingis is just like a dumpster fire, he's an expiring contract and like you can either use that as leverage to move him if we're in a position where like an asset w could be traded for that much in expiring um cap space, or you hold on to it and then next year we're set up for like a good space to sign somebody. So it's, either way, there's Ansi Saleh, the new general manager, his thing in all his interviews is optionality, optionality, optionality. And we have it
Yeah.
on the floor, off the floor. Like there's just we have a lot of directions that we can go in. And that's, anyways, terrifying and great at the same time.
Well, yeah, and in to play devil's advocate to my own concern is KP was not my favorite signing of theirs of the offseason.
No,
Mm,
no.
Nikhil Alexander Walker, and I think a sleeper pickup for them, Luke Kennard as well. Best 3-point shooter in the league percentage wise for the last like 5 seasons, if we take
Vince. Yeah.
aggregate percentage. So a fantastic signing there, gives Trey more space to work with because we know Trey's at his best when he's kind of just breaking down defenses and then kicking out to open guys, whether that's a cutting Okongwu or a spotted up Luke Kennard. Shout out Onyeka because I think he has a breakout year as well. I think we saw flashes of that after Jalen went down last season,
Yep.
down the back stretch of the season where he was getting just much higher usage. They started to trust him more. Capella was playing less and less minutes. So I look to see him take another step forward this year. So they're going to be fun.
They're
stuff.
going to be very fun. Like worst case, the Hawks are going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what's not fun?
Yeah, I know. Malik Beasley being investigated by the federal government. That's
That,
not fun.
that's not fun, but that you know what? He probably earned that from everything I'm hearing. Gonna say, I was gonna say, I think the mo second most impactful move this offseason behind KD, Miles Turner moving. Like I think he's going from Indianapolis, where he played a very functional role, third tier, third guy on the list, in my opinion, behind Siakam and Halliburton. And courts are going to be out this year because Halliburton's out. But um, I think that he could have been on that team, and there could have been continuity for the Pacers being a good team moving forward. But between the injury and him moving to the Bucks. What's he going to do with the Bucks? Like he's not going to go elevate the Bucks to do anything. He was the value only to one team, and he left that team. And I think he's going to be nothing elsewhere. And I think the Bucks just got fleeced, and the Pacers are left kind of holding nothing now. And I think,
They got Timofey Mozgov a bit.
yeah, I think this is going to
I
hurt
love
both.
that. I love that.
It's going to hurt both teams. It sucks.
Yeah, I
But
agree. The like sticking point on that is that I think that was just enough to hold Giannis. And that means that it's so impactful that it prevented what I think a lot of people were anticipating as soon as we got into the offseason. That was Giannis on the move, which would have changed, like not to be hyperbolic, but it probably would have changed the landscape of the NBA moving
Yeah.
somebody like that. But yeah, that's a lot of good points on that, Nick.
Well, one counter there is if you do a little side by side compare of Miles Turner and Jay Huff's stats, they're very, very similar. Indiana might have just gotten the Sheehan version of Miles Turner right back after losing him to the Bucks. And yeah, just way cheaper. So
we
I
all love Jay Huff on this pod. Like
we
he
do.
might be the highest that we all love of one person who's not an all-star.
That's probably correct. I think so. Maybe with the exception, I'm thinking maybe Fast PP, also known as Peyton Pritchard, might be a little higher on that list,
Yeah.
but it's right there. It's right there for sure. I also, given that Josh isn't here, I feel the need to talk about his Denver Nuggets at least a little bit
Oh, yes, me
because
too.
that because their offseason signings were fantastic. The without even looking at exactly which players they added, the fact that they were able to replace Michael Porter Jr. with three new players that all are going to contribute, and the three of them combined are cheaper than Michael Porter Jr. So if you haven't noticed, I my opinion is that the name of the game in the NBA right now is value. I think every comment I've made so far about the offseason signings has been about which teams have gotten the best value. Lakers getting good value from their signings. Pacers getting value out of Jay Huff.
This
And
CBA
now,
is so impactful.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
impactful.
And so I think the Nuggets signing Cam, they could have just done a swap of Cam Johnson and Michael Porter Jr. And I would have said that the Nuggets won that. Um, But on top of that, they also bring in Bruce Brown and who's their third guy? Shooter, right?
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yep.
your guy, Nicholas. Um, but THJ gets replaced by Duncan Robinson on the Pistons, so we'll just call that a wash,
Mhm.
and the Nuggets get to benefit from it.
The the Nuggets didn't necessarily win the offseason, but they're up there. And then Valanciunas actually sticking around, I think, is super meaningful. They've been begging for a real backup center for a while, and
He's all
DeAndre,
thick ass boy.
yeah, and like Valanciunas has been able to stretch the defense over the past couple of years. Like his got the spot up 3-point shot, and still is an absolute load inside and can great rebounder. But despite the contract snafu, maybe going overseas, but it sounds like he'll stick around and um, just some huge signings. And to your point, just the impact of the CBA's fingerprints are everywhere in
Yeah,
the moves this year.
I don't think you can talk about winners of the offseason without talking about Kevin Durant. We probably can keep this brief because I think it's probably been played to death, but Kevin Durant, and you get rid of some dead weight potentially and some personalities, and you bring in KD where you had this team full of guys and they're all kind of vying who's number one, who's our go-to guy, who's our alpha. You just brought in your alpha and everything else supports him. And I don't think anybody has an ego that says, you know what, I can't go play behind and play second fiddle to the greatest scorer of all time potentially. So that is by far and away to me the biggest win of the offseason. I think they are clearly a contender, at least in the West, if not
Mhm.
the finals. Like they're a great team, top to bottom. They got some depth. They got all the different things they need to contend. I'm excited about them. I don't love the Rockets because I don't love the Rockets organization traditionally, but like I love this Rockets team. I think they're a fun team. If you put them in any other jerseys, they're fun.
yeah. I fully agree. I think, and to your point, they didn't this the whole last season they didn't really know who was going to be their scorer on any given night. And but I think one positive thing out of that is that those guys don't bring a ton of ego to the table when it comes to like, oh, I need to get mine. Like I don't think any of them are really playing like that, which means that I think Durant kind of slides in perfectly without having to. I don't think it's going to affect how they play all that much. And like you
Hmm.
said, they really their one hole was uh, a guy that was going to score them 20 to 25 points consistently every single night because they didn't know who that was going to be last season. So, um, yeah, along with bringing him in, having a couple guys move out that might not have been the best fits for them, and opening up some space for guys like Tari Eason and Reed Shepard to step up into new roles. New roles will be if they didn't win the offseason, they're probably number two right behind Denver.
Gentlemen, any more hot takes before we wrap this bad boy up?
I keep the moves coming, NBA. It's
Yeah,
been
there's
fun
still
to watch that. Yeah, there's still some solid guys out there that haven't signed contracts yet. So
yeah.
We'll get one more big move. I'm putting money on it.
Shams is putting money on it too. Apparently, he said something in a tweet. I think it was early last week that there was a
Hmm.
trade cooking up that was bigger than the Luka move. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that. I'm not banking on anything being bigger than the Luka move, but at least has me on the edge of my seat for the remainder of the offseason. That's for sure.
Hmm.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to another episode. Keep your ankles tied up tight and your friend groups even tighter.